And there we have it. Welcome to the Baxter Effect podcast. This is your host, John Baxter. And we have an amazing talk today about spirituality in a time where people need it the most. And this is a topic that I've studied pretty much my whole life. A little bit of my background is that I'm half Asian and I'm half European. I'm British slash Irish, and I'm roughly half Thai just from my DNA. And this duality brought me down a path to trying to understand growing up in the Western culture, exactly where I fit in my belief system. And I think this is ultimately important as we develop a worldview. If you don't really have much of a worldview, if you're not really in the world, you're just in your little bubble, that you may have a lot of questions in regards to who am I? Well, what is this? And why should I follow this religion? Or what are the basis premise of each religion? And basically, what is the purpose? And I think we like to break this down, and no one really wants to break it down because our uniform religions in the world are they're not teaching the reality. These are systems that have changed over time. And if you ask Jesus himself, was he trying to create a religion? No. Are they teaching anything that he taught? Not really. So in the grand scheme of things, when you really uncover and unpack, all this information, you will come to the same types of conclusions. You'll come to the same types of questions. You'll come to an understanding that this final version of this pinnacle of human potential or God-given potential, it rests in your own understanding, your own connection to the world around you, and how you fit in internally more so than externally. So we live in a world of illusion, and these types of topics, they don't get discussed. I thought I'd bring it upon myself to talk about very difficult subjects, and it's important to realize that I'm gonna try to give it to you just truthful, raw. If you are a Christian, realize I speak that language. If you are a Buddha, I speak in that language as well. If you're a Hindu, pretty much every major religion, you take what is good and you discard what is bad. And if you've only had one basically understanding of religion, and it is one of these major religions, you likely have a very minuscule outlook on really this whole system of understanding. And it's something that I think it's so important that we kind of cover today. I'd like to educate and inform the public on some difficult topics to comprehend, but in the end, I really do believe this is a worthwhile cause. And of course, message, share, like, comment on this podcast because I can answer some of your questions. These hard to understand questions that we're going to cover today. Some of the stuff we'll be covering is Jesus's political death. And we talked about this in the last podcast and why it is important. Because he was censored and he was an advocate for the everyday person, for healing, to wrap our minds around this illusion and why it's causing so much chaos, destruction, knowing the understanding of evil, good and evil. We're going to cover all this today. And, we start with Jesus's political death, and we're going to get into Taoism. We're going to get into Buddhism. We're going to get into Gnosticism. We're going to get into all the flavors of religion, and we're going to break it down. We're going to cover concisely Jesus in India, harmony and enlightenment. This will be the end of our talk today. And enlightenment, why we end it with enlightenment, because that's ultimately what was removed out of the Bible. It was something that major politics doesn't like their own people having their own beliefs. They like to control our belief system with programming. One, in Korea, they force you to believe that their king is a god, and they're not allowed to have any other statues or anyone showing that there's anyone above the uh, Kim. And basically, like, that's how crazy of a world we live in. And even our current religions, we follow something. When we say Jesus had a political death, his victors, Rome, decided on the Bible. It's a man written document, book that is not real. It was made up. It was made up by the Vatican. The Bible was made up by the Vatican. And that's a crazy thing to say because the real books were found in 1945. The real Christian books were found in 1945 in Egypt. They're called the Nag Hammadi. And basically, these were uncovered, and these were uncovered, and they were buried around 100 AD. And when you read the true, books, and we're talking the Gospels of John to Mary Magdalene to Thomas to Matthew, all the hidden books that the Bible proclaims to give people, they don't. And they don't give it to you on purpose because they've turned religion into a control system. And if you follow Jesus, and I do, and I follow the Gnostic side of this Christian movement, which is real Christianity. It's not dogma. It's not made up by the Vatican Church, the victors of his crucifixion. And realize that there are things that are understanding, and it reminds me of a very Eastern culture where it goes internal. And this is what all major religions suggest, that the world is a duality. There's good and evil. There's good and bad. There is up and down, left, right. There is positive, negative, male, female, you name it. We live in a duality, knowing that the unification of this duality, we can live in balance. And so through all the teachings that you see, that is kind of the essence, that there is light, and light is good, and dark is bad. But without dark, there is no light. So we live in a contradictory realm. And when you understand this, this is very important, that we're reaching toward unity. This body, when in balance, it is like a finely tuned instrument. They don't teach us this. They don't teach us that if we can enhance our health, if we can enhance our brain, if we can divide what is in our minds from what is right and wrong, if we can control somewhat of our brain, our heart, our body, we can break through illusion. And so this is an important concept because illusion is everything. The programming that we see on TV is an illusion. The sugars that feed us that taste so good is an illusion from true health. We have people in politics that act like they're good people, but they're really wolves in sheep's clothing. Thank you, Governor Walz. And what you see is that you see this all the time, that there is evil within a human. And you got to break it down. You got to discern what's discernible. You must look at behavior, outside and inside. And we look at this behavior in religion. So what typically do you see from other religions that are good qualities that you could accept yourself? So we see this time and time again. And when you look at the behaviors of the religions around the world, some have become dark. They want to repopulate the world, and they want to push their agenda. However, there are religions that have never forced themselves on anyone. There's never been a war in the name of Buddhism. So you wonder why. And in religion, which this is, there's the modern religion and the ancient understanding of religion. We find that this political death, Jesus's death, was a political death. It was censorship. The powers that be took him out and made a mockery of him by crucifying him so that no one else would speak the truth, that no one else would break free from this matrix of fear. And that is right there. That is why this is such a big deal. That right there, breaking through fear. In case you haven't realized, all they have to do is say that everyone else does it, and we accept that as a truth. But the truth is within you. And when we have a leader like that, or a leader that stands up for the truth, oftentimes you see that they get assassinated, they get taken out. So that's why, we bring this up. This is something that no one wants you to know. No one wants you to achieve your highest potential other than your God, you would think. And people like me, that's why I'm on this podcast. I created this podcast to speak truth. So I understand the realization because I went through my own trials and tribulations. I went through my own dark night of the soul. It was scary. But the thing is on the flip side of this darkness, which you realize in this world, that's all we were taught. This is what we were learning in school. We're learning the flip side, the inverted side of how to be a good a discerning individual, a discerning adult. And we don't learn that until we go through trials and tribulations. And through these trials and tribulations, we learn what real is. We learn what good really is. We learn that there are people out there that are confused. We learn that there's people out there that are considered bad, but are they really bad, right? Are they just following generational trauma, thinking that they're doing good and doing extremely bad? This is what their parents taught them? So is that okay still? So we find ourselves in this individual dilemma where we are separate, but we're all connected. And this is what we're going to get into today. Enlightenment. And that is the pinnacle of whatever religion has removed, but every major guru, every major godlike individual like Jesus, Bodhidharma, Buddha, they all were giving us the essence of realizing that this illusion is only as real as you make it. And the most important illusion is what's between your head and what you see. And when you achieve a higher level of individual potential, you find out that this world, you'll find that your strengths, your purpose, your mission, your passion, they come into alignment after having a dark night in the soul situation. What is your purpose? Why are you here? These are some of the topics that we're going to talk about today. So we talked about duality and unity. We know the yin yang symbol, right? It's just the black or white. But in this circle is the unification of these two dualities. There's a little bit of darkness and light, and a little bit of light and darkness. And what we are talking about today, of course, is dogma, looking at the belief system of other religions and how those people behave, and looking at the spiritual warfare that we have today. So today, with spiritual warfare, we are on the precipice of major things happening in a good way. We're also in the precipice of major bad things happening, like World War III. But as a individual with a strong heart, mind, a clear, concise, let's call it an even mind. This is one that's not running into extremes. This is an even mind where it's not running into emotions and letting those emotions control me. This is, look at the ICE agents fighting what appear to be our own people. This is going to an extreme, right? So we must keep a balanced mind. Whether the world is going to hell, stick to your truth, stick to your facts. It doesn't mean don't go out there and speak your voice. It means to keep an even mind, to not use physical force on another person just because our emotions are running high. It means to stay together in the heat of the moment. And you'll find this in the stronger religions. Um, we didn't talk about like Buddha in India or Jesus in India, but if you cover the facts and you go back in history, 500 years before Jesus, there was this guy named Buddha. He figured out how to end suffering with nothing more than how to control our thoughts and relax our mind and see this world as somewhat of an illusion. Nothing is permanent in his eyes. And so, even though this physical body is not permanent, we should also see it as such. We're not immortal, so this body is not immortal. It's not going to last forever, but the spirit carries on. So, in one sense, we are immortal as our spirits carry on, but the other sense that to save lives, to save souls, to see the world in a different light, it requires an individual understanding. It requires you to find your own truth. And to lead a horse to water, they must drink the water themselves. So, well, what's interesting about this is that to unify traditions is much more of a concept that I would like to talk about, because more division is just more division, honestly. And if we see others as divide and conquer, then we actually kind of see ourselves. And I believe just words alone, and um, there's different languages. So if there's so many different languages and the same meaning means the same thing, you realize that, are we off on our communication path? Do we call God or source? Oh, some people say you don't call God source and you don't call source God. Well, what is the proper English term to call God or source? You won't come up with one. It's it's unfathomable. You'll never know the truth. And so why get stuck there? Why get stuck on something that no one can understand or comprehend since the beginning of time? It's a waste of time. And that's what we call the 10,000 things. There's no chance, there's not enough time in the world to follow the 10,000 things that will lead you into when the next comet is going to hit the earth. If we live in that type of fear of when the comet is going to hit the earth, we're just schizophrenic. We're a little bit crazy, and we're letting fear derive into our balance. So to break free from this illusion, to break free from this understanding, it requires a great level of understanding. And so, why am I here today talking about this? I spent pretty much my whole life studying Eastern and Western religions and philosophies, and I think more than ever, and I think today, and I am known as a healer. I'm known as an inventor, an innovator, and that's why I'm saying to unify traditions is to understand them at a deep level and to realize as such things as what I see and I hear out there today, it's not the true reality. These are just words and books, and they put for us to follow. But these are not things that will help us achieve a higher understanding, which is compassion, which is living your mission, your life purpose, and breaking free of all these things. There's a knowledge that Jesus went missing in his 13 years in India, so they don't talk about that. Thank you, Vatican, for removing information that helps us. Thank you for attacking anyone with an Ethiopian Bible. Thank you for devouring anyone that had a second opinion. Or, that's the same war we're in today. Freedom of speech is alive and active, and that's another reason why I'm here today. I'm not the most popular guy, and I don't have the most popular opinion. But I'll tell you this: I won't lie to you. I won't push an agenda on you, and I think that's important because in today's world, I consider myself a warrior. Warrior spirit, warrior mindset, never give up. I've done remarkable things most people have never considered or dreamed in many lifetimes. I am blessed. I am lucky at that level. But people don't realize how I got here. Some people look at me and think, wow, he just got lucky. And the real truth is they don't know me. And to speak my truth is it's just too much. It would take, there's many books I have around here. This one's over 600 pages, but there's a lot of information stored in this body. And to alleviate, to get a download, and I've actually had a download. People are like, how did you get all this information? How did you download this information? Did you study the occult? Did you study all this stuff? Did you have Nikola Tesla teach you things that when he wasn't around? Like, people say this stuff all the time. And it's understanding that we know more in this government or this realm. They say they know more about the stars than they do the human body. There is so much to learn here. There's ancient texts that most people haven't dwelled into. There are so-called gurus that say they got enlightened, but their behavior doesn't act like it. They don't have a superior compassion. They don't have the compassion to help thousands of people. And so when you realize that, heck, compassion can mean, oh, I'm walking a person across the street, an old lady. Oh, good for you. I hope you feel better, you know? Or is it the compassion to end suffering? And what level of compassion, Baxter? Well, the compassion to get up and start early and go to sleep late, just giving it your all and doing it again and again and again and again and again. I'm talking about compassion to change the world. People are like, well, what do you get this from? You get this from deep, deep healing. I'm talking the compassion that, tears roll out of your eyes for no reason. And you're actually going to go do something about it. This is the compassion that I talk about, not this little compassion of, oh, I sent $5 to the Humane Society. I'm talking about actually doing the work, physically getting up. And regardless of you giving money to a nonprofit or charity, actually no one watching you and you doing it, going helping dogs, living that type of insane passion and compassion in one. And this is how you change the world. It's just you have this powerful force. They call it passing ions, which is just an energy. We're all energy. And this energy is a lot more than meets the eye. There are people with multiple gifts. There's people with singular gifts. There's people that will never find their gifts because they were never given the opportunity of meeting someone, hearing the right words, understanding who their guru is or who their teacher is, per se. And we read all the books, and I tell people this all the time. What if I gave you every book? What if you read every single book? Is knowledge power at that point, or is too much knowledge kind of stopping and halting, paralyzing? Is too much knowledge paralyzing you? Because in spirituality, it's almost like the great remembering. It's like the great forgetting. You forget who you are and you become. You have all the knowledge in the world and you sit and you conspire and you waste time, or these are the things that as you master yourself, you realize, well, what's the best use of my time? And when you realize nature that we have been pulled out of nature. And this is another concept. Without nature, you will, if you live in a cubicle since the time you were born and you lived in a concrete jungle, your idea of nature may be a park, not the vast wilderness where you're miles away from society. And there's actually wild animals and energy. They call it like environmental bathing, or forest bathing, where you're out in nature, you're closer to the essence of life, you're closer to God, versus you're in a cubicle with bad quality air, with mold and toxins, with fluorescent lighting that's not even real natural light, drinking water that's been poisoned with fluoride. There is a vast distinction in your overall health. There's a vast distinction in what is reality at that point. Just the change in your environment. And so, yeah, I'm going to recommend that you do that in your lifetime, is to get away from everything. Get away from the rat race of the capitalism in this culture. And you'll realize that your value is much different. Your value for what you do for money is not your real core values. What you have as real core values has nothing likely to do with the money. But that's why Rockefeller said, if I can control your bank and your system, who cares who makes the laws? I'm in control of those too. So realize, as a human being and trying to reach my better human potential, what can I honestly do to achieve a higher self worth of myself, a higher value, a aging gracefully? These things are oftentimes overlooked, but they're so important. This is the essence of the true understanding of what a religion or a philosophy should be. You know what? I am kind of mad because really I study every religion, and I believe that they've all have some good information to give you. And I understand the essence of most of the religions, per se: Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism. They formed out of a lot of the Eastern understanding. And when you break it down, these were taken over by powerful organizations that knew that they would never have the attendance they had unless they controlled people. So these are more archons. Archon understanding is psychological manipulation, fear. These types of things position us from a onset of a free feeling, unlimited belief system to a very minuscule, boxed in understanding of reality. So yeah, they poisoned us with chemtrails. They put poison in our food. They've done everything possible to charge our credit card as many times as possible for going after treatments, not cures. And so your religion, your understanding needs to be something that's ever changing, honestly, with the times. You must be able to discern what food could disrupt your health. What types of technologies did they add to the air or the water to slow down our thought processes, to slow down our cognitive behavior? So yeah, this is John Baxter with the Baxter Effect podcast. And yes, we are live and we are covering difficult to talk about subjects. Why? Because it's ultra important. And we realize that a lot of the stuff, the wool pulled over our eyes, was done so that we could never achieve anything of substance. And when we realize this, basically the world is for the taking. There are powerful individuals in this world doing the right work. But there's also a lot of people that are confused, looking for some guidance. So today, hopefully you understand that I'm here to educate, inform, and give some wisdom and shine light on a topic that's oftentimes confusing and hard to understand. And so when we talk about nature, we just started talking about sitting near a waterfall way out in Europe, way out in America, Asia, finding a place to get connected to nature. We call this the Tao, the way, the natural law of things, away from this man made society where the laws of the land are different from the laws of nature. And when you realize this, you'll see the different perceptions that are going on in your life. It's not just one perception. If it's one perception, you may be a liberal. I'm sorry. I hope you got a chuckle out of that. Biological males cannot have children, okay? So, like, you need to do your education, you need to do your work, you need to do your research because there are just a multitude of perceptions that people keep people in. It's a very much a control system. And so when there is a narcissist, when there is a person that we're having issues with in our lives, realize it's not all them. Their perception is way off. And I realized this through generational trauma and how my generation is. I grew up in a place where the KKK hung out, and I'm half Asian. It's called Whiteland, Indiana. Whiteland. I grew up near a town called Whiteland. It was the KKK capital of the world. And yeah, I saw everything. I had to fight for my life every day. And I was a little kid fighting adults, 40-plus-year-old men at 15 years old. Thank you, God. You know, their ideology and their perception was way off. They told me to go back to my country. And I was like, I was born here. I was like, maybe I should get off your planet too, right? So we realized, like, man, we get really into this because in the end, if I just let that fear run me amok, I would never have the strength to get over these obstacles, these barriers. And there's no one to tell you. There's no one to tell you to do this. There is no strong figure likely that's going to push this through. The strong figure must be yourself. You must gain this internal wisdom to be strong for yourself. Create your own boundaries. Know the reality. Know your own discernment from right or wrong. And that's where the true healing begins. So the reason why they don't want people to understand enlightenment is because it's the highest level of health. Damn, Baxter, how do you know? I thought my vitals, I did my vitals and my heartbeat and my blood pressure and my temperature all are in sync, and I'm healthy. I'm as good as possible. That is the true understanding of the Western culture that thinks that they are okay. Well, mental health issues overweigh a lot of those just sheer basic vitals. So I came up with this. There's three ways to ascend, and one is the physical. The physical body, if it is feeling good and not impaired with a lot of pain, you work on that. Pain is not okay, guys. Tell yourself if you're feeling pain, instead of just taking the pain and saying it's okay, say it's not okay. Finally, take control of your health. You actually feel pain in your body, tell yourself it's not okay, and you're going to do something about it. That's your first step. And listen to your emotions, right? Instead of burying your emotions like someone in a indoctrination camp where your real feelings get pushed aside because of the situation around you. Realize the next thing is to stand strong on your boundaries and listen to your feelings and go directions toward taking your of feeling good, going toward what makes you really feel good. Understand that level. And then break off those traumas, feel good enough. Our technology does it. The epigenetics that we hear all these famous people talk about, from any of the epigenetics people, like, the top people in the world, they talk about it. They say that you can meditate and achieve this level. Well, I've been able to do it with my technology. I'm an innovator. I was able to take my technology and do what other people just talk about. And you look around and you think, well, epigenetics, yeah, you could meditate. And like, how many successful people have, out of the tens of millions of people that follow you, has any of your followers gotten enlightened? No, you're not that level of teacher. You're a bookseller. You're an infomercial. We see this with people I'm not going to pick on too many people, but I see people that they just promote other people's products. They become good salespeople and they're an infomercial for someone else's product. And they get fame and they get glory and they think they're great. But honestly, how many people did they help? Very few. They didn't really honestly, truly help someone. They maybe helped someone feel better because they took a supplement. But I'm talking about everlasting health, an everlasting truth that you could just never forget, an everlasting information that plants a huge seed and grows. And so, this is a great topic today. This is John Baxter once again. Our sponsor, Anti-Aging Bed, has this technology. Come check it out, antiagingbed.com. Realize that this technology, as far as what people can achieve with the so-called epigenetics, of just telling your body certain things and you achieving it, is still at a low level. And what I'm suggesting is using technology and enhancing your health, you can achieve the highest level of health, which is this understanding of your connection with the universe, this connection with God. And you realize, man, Baxter, what's the highest level of health? Well, it's not your vitals. We covered that. It's not just in control of your emotions. It's your connection with Source, God. And once you achieve a third level of this healing, you'll realize that, hell, how did Baxter get those downloads? How did he create all this technology? Is he one man or is he multiple men? And the honest truth is, I just got a centimeter better every day for 25 years. Just an inch better every day for 25 plus years. Every single day, get an inch better. And people are like, well, how did he do this? Well, I just told you. One, if I have a high connection, my human potential is vibrating at the highest level. I have done the physical work. It's not okay to be in pain. Heal yourself. You listen to your emotions, and let's do the same thing. Get your emotions in check. Break away from the trauma, the fear, the self-talk that's negative. Break free from these emotions and liberate yourself. And then finally, you'll start getting to another level. And that level is being connected to Source. You ask a question, you're vibing at a high level. They call it Jacob's ladder. They call it the caduceus of health. And in this level, you have no stagnant energy in your body. Your body is energy. No matter how old you are, you can achieve this. And through the study of ancient texts that no one wants to teach anyone, not even the main religions. You have to find a subsect of religion that was ancient more so than the religion. And when you do this, you realize everything is inward. This story has been figured out. We've just been told the lies that keep us in a spiral pattern, never really getting far, always being convinced otherwise, never really having a solid ground to fixate on, never really having enough truth to make a decision. These are the problems that I see with people today. They're indecisive on anything because we've been given both sides of the story, and no one even cares enough to ask the question to get to a resolution for themselves. And so, yeah, like, share, and comment this podcast. Bear with me. Write in the comments your thing. I'll go through some of these questions. We got Mr. Strine here. Welcome, Mr. Strine. And that's right. We've been lied to about our history. We've been lied to about our history. Again, we've been lied to about our history. That's so true. And yeah, we realize God is within. So that is so true. Like every major religion prior to Christianity, that was they used Jesus's name to create a religion called Christianity. Jesus did not create that. I'm sorry for telling you the truth. His followers created these stories, the Gnostic Bibles and stories, which are much more the truth. These are the original documents, and whoever created the Bible after the fact that the Gnostic stories are created, were just created this religion to control people. That's the honest truth. And people break through, and it doesn't mean they haven't had great results, and doesn't mean that they don't have capable gifts. There's just not a lot of people that break through. And that's what I'm here for you today. I'm here today to plant seeds of you breaking through yourself. And when you realize this, we're unifying all traditions. We're unifying ourselves. Just think of every religion as something in you, and that a lot of that perception was incorrect. It's time to fix and mobilize and free up some of the stagnant energy patterns, the fear in the body, and break free to enlightenment beyond politics. So, yeah, like I told you at the beginning, of course, Jesus' death was a political death. He was censored. He was talking about inwardness. He was talking about freedom. And it caused a problem with the political powers that be at the time, the elites, because they wanted them to focus on slavery, building, and making objects for the elite. They didn't want them to join together to understand this reality at a higher level. I'm just a storyteller today. And to break free the reality that we all have hidden between the cracks. We cannot see it. If it was a snake, it would bite us. That's why I'm here today, to say, wow, it's right here. It is right here. It is right here. It's right here. It's not out there. There's nothing out there that's going to help you achieve this level. This is God only helps those that help themselves. And when he sees that you do the hard work, guess what? You get the gifts. The gifts are never coming free. They're coming after a tenure of focus, a long-standing focus of your energy. And so one of the things I pride myself on is my goal is to end human suffering. And I talk about this thing called enlightenment. Every culture, every per se philosophical religion, every religion had at one time, it was removed, this concept of enlightenment. And I just broke it down to you. Your highest level of health is your enlightenment. And that's what they knew since the ancient times. That's why the medical symbol is the caduceus. And that's those two snakes wrapped around that staff with two wings, and the snake's mouth is around the ball right in the center. That is called the pineal gland, your gateway to God. The spine, the staff, is your spine, and the energy channels of the snake are the positive and negative. And what happens when you get this download is that you turn on the caduceus of health, the Hermes. Hermes is the messenger god. You receive from what you ask. So you have a question, you have a difficult question. Guess what? You turn on this body, which we can just call it enlightenment at this point. Call it what you want. Call it enlightenment. And you achieve this higher level of health. This is what no one wants you to know. And you're welcome. You heard it here, maybe first, but you're welcome because that's why I'm here. Here to teach you that enlightenment is active and ready for anyone. For anyone that wants it. This just doesn't happen. You see all these people that are Buddhist and they follow Buddhism, and it's like, you following Buddha. Are you enlightened? No. Okay. You're like the millionth person I met that didn't achieve enlightenment. You sit here every day and you sit in meditation. It's like, did you achieve enlightenment? No. Okay, 3 decades later, come back. Did you achieve enlightenment? No. Why? Is your teacher wrong? Yes, your teacher is wrong. This doesn't take that much time. Is your religion wrong? Yes, your religion is wrong. I hate to break it to you. It's kind of like following Big Pharma. You follow Big Pharma, they say, take this pill for the next 50 years and you're going to be okay. At that time, did it heal you? Did it get you over the reason why you started taking the pill? No. So religion is very much the same. If you're not getting the full essence, you're not achieving this higher level of what they all talk about, not what just the standard church talks about, but what the ancient texts talk about. And that topic is just, there's a lot of scrutiny. There's a lot of missing knowledge. There's a lot of information that people just don't know. They get scared. So that's the difficult thing that we run into, is that people get scared when they don't know something very well. And what I'm here to do today is to get to the brass tacks of why it's important to consider this understanding that, yeah, if I can heal myself, why did they even baptize people? It's to bring about healing. And why are people so afraid of per se healing? Why? It's because it will strike fear in your belief system. Your cognitive dissonance will be present. And if you don't like that, it could trigger you. It could trigger this dark night of the soul, realizing that, was it me or all these people bad? Well, likely it was me. I needed to break free. I needed to get away. I needed to set boundaries. I needed to care about myself more. I needed to think about things more. I needed to study, find and lift over the different rocks in this realm to see what was true and what wasn't true. And what we find is, as a knight, I'm a knight. You can call me Sir Knight John Baxter. I talk about the dark night of the soul because, honestly, people need to know that it happens to good people. And if it wasn't for these types of things, then you're never going to achieve anything. You're going to think that, oh, I need to be good. I need to be fake good. I need to be the light. I need to do this. But if you haven't went through anything in life, you're not very, your belief is not very strong. And when you go through something substantial, it strengthens you like steel. And when you go through these tests in life, these trials and tribulations, you will break free. And when you break free, then that's where things get real. So, of course, I'm positioning this as living your mission and purpose and being enlightened. And this is the concept I'd like to talk about today. Call me a citizen, call me a student of life, call me a guy sitting in a desk giving you a podcast. But also, call me a guy that you feel like there are no coincidences in life, that I'm here for a reason. And I'm speaking to you in front of you today. I can cover anything from entrepreneurship to politics to health technology to the highest level of technologies in the world to innovation. I can talk all of it. Why? I'm only one guy, but I care. I studied. I learned these types of information so that I can give back. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm giving back. So we covered so much information already in this last 50 minutes. 50 minutes. Yes, I am so excited. I talked for 50 minutes about the topic of enlightenment and how religion could be your source of non-enlightenment. Your teacher, your religion could be your source of not getting to where you need to go. And as a Gnostic Christian, as a Taoist, just up front, that's what I am. I had my own revelation. I had my own epiphany with God. I'm a Taoist. That means I believe in nature's law, natural law. I'm a Gnostic Christian. That means I believe in the true Christian essence before this religion was taken over by the Vatican. I believe in the substance and source of the truth, not something dictated down to me. And this is why Jesus' death was political, because they don't want people to achieve a level of enlightenment and walk around and talk the truth. So if that really happens, why? You wonder why. Why do they not want people to walk around and tell the truth? Because it sets other people free. The truth shall set you free. And if someone actually finds it and they start telling others, man, that feels like my mission and purpose as well. I've done it with health technology. I've done it with martial arts. I've done it with pretty much everything I've ever touched. And so be it. I'm here to break down the dogma. I'm here to educate and show my compassion to my community, showing people that there is something better. There is a human potential that's sitting there waiting for you to tap into it. So I'm leaving it open for questions and comments. Feel free to share, comment. I'm in the comments right now. He says, "I'm really surprised more people do not take your advice. You have been awarded the world's greatest with your medical technology." Oh, thank you, Mr. Strine. Basically, I got here every direction, and then the technology came. The downloads. You can find this for yourself. You can achieve this level yourself. And I appreciate all your comments in this thing. And then we have Barry here. Saving my world, one better night's sleep recovery at a time. We thank you, John Baxter, and your team. Thank you, Mr. Barry. Love you very much. Mike Van Thielen, God is within. I think he came out with a book. Good job, John. This is true. God has to be within. That's what every major religion says. He's not outside of you. You never find him out here. You can manifest and create things, but you'll always find God within. I think it was, we were made in God's image. God only helps those that help themselves. So here today, we are strengthening our resolve. There was a lot of information shared, and if you guys had any comments, share it right now. I'd like to cover it. We're gonna call it quits here soon. Is there a topic, I guess my good question here, is there a topic you would like to cover? On the stuff we talked about today, is there something in there that you've been missing? Is there something there you've been studying? Is there something that you need to know more about? I remember the times of the internet. Most of the stuff that I study is no longer on the internet. I'm of age. I'm 48 years old. I'm a student of life. I've studied so much stuff and so many occult topics, good, bad, ugly, science to physics to you name it, the body, space, astronomy, astrology. I've studied it all. Tarot, Cabal. Yeah, these are all things. Knowledge is power, but also knowledge, honestly, too much knowledge is just going to confuse you. It's the great remembering or the great forgetting. You can get there either way. My goal today was to let you know that you have a teacher, that you have someone that you can look to help you find answers. And in my format, I had great teachers. I got to say, I've had really good teachers, but they weren't going to get me to the place to drink the water. They were going to get me to the place of just figuring out the essence of things. What happens if every teacher you follow, they get you to a certain point and they can't answer your questions because they haven't achieved that level of sustenance. So if you are following a teacher, if you are following a religion, let me ask you, how long you've been doing it? How far did you get? If you didn't achieve enlightenment, if you didn't achieve this higher level yourself, was it your fault or was it your teacher's fault? So yeah, I am speaking on a subject as a healer, as an innovator, as a technology, as an inventor. And you take this information in, you realize basic human behavior, and you realize what people are missing is likely something ritualistic. You know people are missing something in them. And it realized that the truth will set you free. And so today's talk, watch this video over and over again. We can come back to this stuff and we can talk about it in detail. Specifically, come back to me with some good questions, and I can assist. The people, everyone wants to achieve this higher level of potential, but are they willing to do the work? Out of the tens of millions of Buddhas out there, how many does it take to get enlightened? I just haven't met any of them. The thing is yeah, there's some gurus out there, but is there anyone achieving this higher level of spirituality? Have they studied? Do they realize this body in and out? Do they understand their perception and how it alters their reality? Yeah, so we do practice freedom of speech. We do practice and honor our teachers. And basically, with my understanding of all this stuff I teach, from health technology to philosophy to physics to health frequency medicine, that it took a long time. It took many nights of sleepless nights. It took a lot of information, and most of the information has already been censored. So when I achieved this level and I would tell people, look up this book, we're at the day and age where, you can't even access this information anymore because it was censored. So that's why I'm here to share. Share, comment, please. Love to help everyone. But we are short on time, and we've had a great hour with everyone here. Next week or here very soon, we will talk about light, the physics of light, the spiritual aspect of light, the light body. We'll actually talk about a little more of this dark night of the soul. Dark night as in like sleep night, and dark night as this shiny paladin of truth and righteousness. And so, yeah, for the men out there, this is great because I kind of speak to you more. I am a man. I am not a female, so I can't speak in those terms. But what I can say, if you were to be someone that wanted to be a knight, someone that has reached its pinnacle, someone that has formulated and lived through his dark night of the soul, to be a spiritual truth seeker, to be a paladin of health, to stand strong and firm when everyone around them is weak and breaking. This is the strength of a knight, and I am Knight John Baxter, coming to you live here in Orlando, Florida, on the Baxter Effect podcast. Until next time, let's use these comments below. We will get back to you, and thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day. Happy Friday. Take this advice. Have a great day. Don't think about it too much, but just realize you have a friend, and I'm here to assist in any way, shape, or form. So until next time, love you guys. God bless you. Have a great day.